Dr. Rajesh Kumar to present floral bouquet to Dean Sir. Now I invite all the dignitaries, Dean Sir, Dr. T.S.Misra Sir, Dr. T.S.Misra Sir, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Sir, Brigadier Mithilesh Sir, Dr. S.P. Rai Sir, and Dr. S.K. Goyal Sir for the lamp lighting ceremony as a tribute to Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. Now, I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar, Professor and Head Department of Community Medicine, Organizing Chairperson and the guiding force behind this CME, to deliver welcome address.
Good morning, ladies. This is our proud privilege to welcome you all to this CME, the first of its kind in college. We are honored to have Dr. T.S.Misra, the former professor at Community Medicine of BHU. He is an eminent public health specialist, a great teacher, thorough gentleman. I can just not find words to talk about his stature. We are really honored, sir. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. T.S.Misra, who had been in the armed forces. He had been my senior. He had been in academics for quite long. Presently, he is Professor and HOD Community Medicine at my medical college. I welcome you, sir. I welcome our Dean, Sir, Dr. T.S.Misra, who has been the motivating and guiding force behind this CME, and personally, he is my friend, philosopher, guide, mentor, whatever you want to say for me. I welcome you, sir. I welcome all the HODs, the faculties from our college, from outside, the post-graduate students, and all delegates to this CME. Well, the CME on scientific paper writing, as I said, the first of its kind. We were talking about organizing the CME for quite long. About 2 months ago, our Dean Sir told me, organize a CME of common interest. We were wondering how to choose a topic, what should be the topic which interests everyone in all faculties. And finally, we decided that this is a subject which would not only be interesting for everyone, but also relevant. We have got lots of PGs, they've got to write their thesis, so many guides for them, it's very relevant for them. So, we hone on this topic, because this would be the most appropriate topic. Writing makes a man perfect, but has not been so easy. I was just going through some literature and I came across Vedic scripture which says, Upakramo Sangharo Abhyaso Vipata Phalan अर्थवादो भक्ति च लिंगम तात्पर्य निर्णय. The Veda scripture has identified 6 characteristics of a literature, and they are, as I mentioned, Upakrama Upsamhara. Introduction and conclusion should be in the same line. Abhyaso, the subject matter is talked about again and again. Apurvata, that is novelty. Phala, the result, what has come out. Then Arthavado, what is the relevance? And Upapa, that is reason. These are things described in Vedic scripture. And as we go through this CME, we realize this is what we talk about today in scientific paper writing. I will not dwell upon that. That will be taught by our learned speakers. So as we go through this, we will dwell upon these things. And I feel this is very important for learning only our skill for writing good papers. Because as the saying goes, tools of writing comes from art, not chance. As those who move easiest have learned to dance. So, our endeavor is to impart this skill, impart the art of writing good scientific paper. I hope you enjoy it. So once again, welcome to this session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request our Principal and Dean and the motivating force behind the CME, Dr. A.K. sir, to address the audience.
Good morning. Jai. Learned speaker, Dr. Ratan Kumar Srivastava, by Dr. A.K. Srivastava ji, and Dr. Rajesh Kumar, the leading force behind this CME, Organizing Secretary and the Department of Community Medicine, our faculty members, dear delegates, residents, interns, ladies and gentlemen. It is a matter of great pleasure that Department of Community Medicine is organizing a CME on scientific paper writing. This CME is, of course, such CME should continue in different departments. At this point, I request other departments, head of the departments of especially medicine, surgery, pediatrics, orthopedics, and of course pathology and microbiology. I hope they will just organize such CME very soon within this academic year. And organizing secretary and organizing team has rightly invited learned speakers for this particular talk. I welcome you all, sir. And Dr. Monica Agarwal is not, I think she will join very recently in this CME. This scientific paper writing or publication is very important for all the faculty members, for all the postgraduate students. You all know your promotion is only because of your publication. At least some publication must be there in a good, authentic journals. For even postgraduates, you will find you have to write a paper from your thesis and you have to publish to become eligible for the PG examination. So that's why it is very, very important. You cannot escape from the importance of this paper writing. And I am very happy T.S.Misra Medical College is organizing such CMEs, such lectures regularly. For the postgraduate, we have just arranged some special lectures regarding the type of research studies, attitude of research, how to select research topic, how to write protocol, thesis, and papers, and what is the ethics behind the research. So such lectures has been taken, and I think our postgraduates have they have some idea regarding the research. They are quite lucky because today we have some experts, senior experts and professors on this particular subject, and they will just give you a very good orientation regarding the research. I think now your journey and regarding the research will complete regarding the knowledge. So I thank you. Then regarding publication and the research atmosphere, I am very happy. T.S.Misra Medical College is just arranging so many things in the last 6 months when I joined. A good workshop was done on the good clinical practice and the ethics in biomedical research by the medical education unit. Then ethics committee has been revised and that has been sent for the approval of Indian Council of Medical Research. Our college, T.S.Misra Medical College, with the help, sincere efforts of Dr. Goel, head of the Department of Biochemistry, it has been approved by the Scientific and Industrial Research Organization. You know, for national and international grants, so it is very mandatory your college must be attached to TST and the SIR like organizations. Then you are eligible to have a good grant for the research. So this is a good thing, and now our faculty is free to have a such type of grant to prepare for just that you can do it. And I hope this will be done. Then after the CEO, the committee of this board of ethics is organized here in the T.S.Misra Medical College, and Dr. Sandeep Kumar, founder director of AIM Bhopal, and Dr. Siddiqui, Dr. Mehdi, both have came here and they are motivated our faculty. In that, sometimes we usually, young faculty and some people, they usually say, what is the advantage of this research work? Advantage, why we should organize this CME or this conference like this? Somebody asked. So you all know your promotion and everything is very much related to this. And also you will find when you are just doing such type of research activity, you become different from the other people. Your recognition becomes somewhat different, and that becomes it is added in your additional qualification. So that's why it is very much required. When you join a teaching college, medical college, this is must for everybody to write some paper, publish the things, and this will be. I think Dr. Monica Agarwal, welcome madam. This is very important. You cannot escape from the research world for paper writing, for publication, and this must be not for the benefit, it is for the personal gain, as well as when you go in your conferences, academy, you will be recognized as different from the routine delegates. So I think this is must for every teacher, every professor. And I know some of the persons in T.S.Misra Medical College also, they are very much interested in such type of activities. Then paper writing is again very important, and this is basically it is an art. And when you just start writing, you have some bits, but after some time, you become the master of that. Just like when I just passed my post-graduation from PhD, and then I was just joined Medical College Kanpur. My professor usually insisting me to write some paper. That time, journal of forensic medicine was very few, and they are quite irregular. Sometimes they will come, sometimes 2-3 years there is no journal. So I asked Professor P in which journal I just papers. So he has given me the name of 4 journals, 2 national and 2 international. And one of them is the Journal of Indian Academy of Forensic Medicine. That was quite irregular at that time. when I sent that paper, it was never published. But the 3 articles from my thesis was published. One in the Indian Journal of Forensic Science. One is the Forensic Science International. Forensic Science International is the biggest journal for the last 60 years in the whole world. It is the most costliest journal of the forensic medicine. And it is in the top of the last 60-70 years, I think. And then another is the American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Technology. I was a newcomer. I was hesitating how I would write about thesis work in this paper. They are the big journals, American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Technology and the Forensic Science Journal. But my professor just say no, it is not a big problem. They are not bothering about your material. They are not bothering about your language. They are bothering your content and the things available. And my 2 papers have been published. First 2 papers in my academic career that published in the Forensic Science International and American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Pathology. So I think it is not a big challenge. Only things you start, and after some time you will feel your paper in the renowned journal, international journal will publish earlier than your national journal. So I think here the experts are there. Experts will give you a lot of things and they will teach you, they will inform you, they will just inculcate the knowledge, and ultimately you can write the publications and you can do very well in your academic. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Anupama Srivastava to present a bouquet of flowers to Dr. Monica Agarwal ma'am. It is my honor to introduce to you all our next speaker, who is a keynote speaker for today, Dr. Kumar Srivastava sir, an alumni of London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, UK. He has more than 42 years of teaching experience. He has guided more than 21 students for the award of MD and PhD and has more than 80 publications in national and international journals. His research projects are funded by UNFPA, UNICEF, WHO, USAID, Government of Gujarat and ICMR. He was professor and head Department of Community Medicine in IMS BHU, past president of National Body of IAPSM, former secretary journal and subsequently vice president Indian Society of Hypertension. He has been awarded with fellowship of Indian Society of Hypertension and International College of Nutrition. He was Deputy Director, COVID Response Team, Mamta Health Institute of Mother and Child, Lucknow, and presently he is Dean Academics at Prasad Institute of Medical Sciences, Lucknow. I humbly request Sir to address our audience and deliver the keynote address on scientific paper, What and Why. Please come, Sir.
Good morning, everybody. I was excited when I got this invitation to meet new people, young people, experienced people. All experienced people. I am also young. I say I am 25-year-old with 40 years of experience, now 42 years of experience. So more experience, but I am still only 25 years of age. My age is only 25. Okay, thank you. I hope you all can see this slide. My topic was scientific paper writing, what and why. We try to find out some logical code which is suitable for today's topic. I am not going to read this. I will move further. Yes, this is my suggestion to all my PGs and newcomers, that you should not have too much stress. See, he is busy in typing research paper or thesis, isn't it? So you should not have that much stress. So do not remain in stress for a thought of writing and typing research. We are here to make it very, very simple. It's really, our principal has given you very good, I think, story. I think none of us are talented writer, even I was not a talented writer. Sometimes we think that there are people who are highly talented. Let me quote a simple example. After retirement, I have shifted here in a colony, Purvanchal Kings Court in Gomti Nagar, and there one diabetologist, a young person who is having 10 years of experience, Dr. Arun, he is also residing. Recently he came to me and he was talking about his one work. He is getting lot of recognition. He is doing private practice. I asked what you did. He told me I was giving insulin, writing insulin to the paper. I am just sharing this example with all young students. So if you come out with some brilliant idea, unique idea, all over world people will appreciate you. Just see what happened. So he was just thinking, one poor patient came and he told, sir, where will I keep insulin? I have no refrigerator. I live in Jhopadi. And how can I use insulin? And he was also worried. Now how to prescribe him insulin? And insulin was necessary. He was thinking, then he shared his worry with somebody. Then some agency was working in rural area.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a knowledgeable session. I request Dean sir and Dr. Rajesh Kumar, HOD Community Medicine, to present a memento and certificate to Dr. Ratna Kumar Srivastava sir for taking time out to enlighten us. I would like to call all our delegates and faculty members for the good group photograph with the Dean and guest speakers just outside LT1 on the left. Thereafter, we will have a cup of tea at the college cafeteria, and I request all of you to kindly assemble here before 11:35. I am privileged to announce our next guest speaker, Dr. Monica Agarwal, graduated from Maharani Lakshmi Bai. She has graduated from Maharani Lakshmi Bai Medical College, Jhansi, post-graduation in Community Medicine from KGMU, Lucknow. She has been awarded Dr. Pushpa Sharma Gold Medal in MD SPM. She has been awarded 3 weeks fellowship to visit University of Mauritius as Public Health Specialist by University Grants Commission, New Delhi, India. She has carried out various research projects funded by ICMR, UNICEF, NIP, PCID, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, World Bank, UPHSSB, and WHO. She has published many papers in national and international journals, and presently she is Professor and HOD Community Medicine and Public Health, King George Medical University, Lucknow. I invite ma'am on the stage for the session on manuscript writing.
Thank you. So today this session is about writing a scientific paper. या साइंटिफिक मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट आपको कैसे लिखें. सो आई थिंक कि ज़्यादातर MD स्टूडेंट्स हैं यहाँ पर, तो रिसर्च कर रहे होंगे एंड देन दे आर रेडी फॉर राइटिंग ए रिसर्च पेपर, है कि नहीं है? हाँ, तो हम लोग आज देखते हैं कि एक रिसर्च पेपर में इट इज अ वेरी लॉन्ग टॉपिक एक्चुअली. जो हमारी अपनी ट्रेनिंग हुई है 5 days, तो मैं सोची थी 5 days को हम कैसे 1.5 hour में कवर कर ले, एंड आई विल ट्राई माय बेस्ट. अदरवाइज मैं अपना पावर पॉइंट छोड़ जाऊंगी. बहुत सारी चीजें आप देख सकते हैं उसमें किस तरीके से हैं, लेकिन जस्ट एक ग्लिम्पस आई विल गिव यू कि कैसे एक आपको अच्छा साइंटिफिक मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट आप लिख सकते हैं. सो इट इज ट्रू दैट क्वालिटी ऑफ ए रिसर्च पेपर डिपेंड्स प्राइमरली कि आप अपनी रिसर्च कैसे करते हैं. तो आपने अपनी थीसिस कैसे की हुई है, योर रिसर्च पेपर विल डिपेंड ऑन इट. तो आप अभी अगर इस प्रोसेस में हैं तो अपना रिसर्च जो है वो अच्छे से करिए, देन यू कैन राइट ए गुड रिसर्च आर्टिकल. तो बहुत अच्छे टाइम पे डॉक्टर साहब ने आपके लिए ये CME ऑर्गेनाइज कराई है कि आप देख सकते हो कि इस वक्त हमने अपने रिसर्च में रिसर्च पेपर्स लिखने के लिए आप देख सकते हो कि हम अपनी थीसिस में या रिसर्च में कहाँ पर गैप्स हैं हमारे, हम उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर लें और कर लें. So however in most cases individuals find it difficult to write. मैं जो अपनी MD करने के बाद में 3 साल तक सोचते रहते थे कि लिखें या ना लिखें. अभी भी मेरे 2 या 3 प्रोजेक्ट्स पड़े हुए कि जब फुर्सत मिलेगी तब लिखेंगे. तो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है टू राइट अ पेपर. informatively about their study or translate the outputs of studies into accessible publications. की ऑब्स्टिकल क्या है? लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस. एमडी के बाद में थोड़े दिन लगेगा पर्टिकुलरली उन लोगों को जिन्होंने अभी तक राइटिंग स्किल्स अपने डेवलप नहीं किए हैं, उनके लिए लैक ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस है एंड अनफेमिलियरिटी विद प्रोसेसेस रिक्वायर्ड इन प्रिपेयरिंग ए पेपर फॉर पब्लिकेशन. तो ये आज आप सीखेंगे कि क्या क्या प्रोसेस में आपको चाहिए लिखने के लिए. तो राइटिंग के पहले मैं कहूंगी कि बहुत जरूरी है राइट करने से पहले सारे एचओडी सारे प्रोफेसर आपसे कहेंगे लिखो पेपर लिखो, लेकिन उसके पहले जो आप 3 साल कर रहे हैं दैट इज पढ़ो. जब तक आपने पेपर पढ़ा नहीं है, रीड नहीं किए हुए हैं, आपके जर्नल क्लब आपने नहीं प्रेजेंट किए हैं, सेमिनार्स नहीं अटेंड किए, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में आपने दूसरों के पेपर्स नहीं सुने हैं, तब तक एक अच्छा आर्टिकल लिखना मुश्किल होता है.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a crisp and valuable session. I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar and Dr. Anupma Srivastava to present a memento and certificate to Dr. Monica Agarwal for gracing us with her presence. He has done his graduation from KGMC Lucknow, post-graduation in community medicine from AFMC Pune, diploma in health and hospital management from Academy of Hospital Administration, New Delhi. He has served Indian Armed Forces for more than 25 years and held various technical and administrative appointments. He is a recognized undergraduate, postgraduate teacher and examiner for various universities. He has published many national and international papers in international journals, and presently he is professor and head Department of Community Medicine at Mayo Institute of Medical Sciences, Varanasi. Sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be very concise and brief. I'll limit myself to the extent that you need to do. Review of literature में आपको क्या करना है? We'll talk about only that much. Firstly, acknowledgement. Lot of things I have taken from ICMR का एक course है, Basic Course in Research Methodology. All of you will have to do it. All teachers, all students. There are 23-24 lectures and they are sufficient for you. You just go through हर lecture को आप एक दिन में 2 lecture एक दिन में पढ़िए, समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. एग्जाम पास होने के लिए तो सब लोग कर लेंगे, but if you read it, you will get every knowledge in that, and you will be able to take lectures in all aspects of research methodology. That's what I think. Why we need review of literature? What is literature review? What are the steps, how it is performed, what are the resources available, and what are the ethical concerns? We'll go into that steps. Firstly, review of literature is a bridge between what is known and what you are going to do. It starts from the time when you are going to form your research hypothesis or question. Research hypothesis, I'll just answer you in one question, one line, that what you plan to prove. Supposing in a layman term we say that drinking sufficient water prevents formation of kidney stones. So hypothesis is the sufficient drinking water prevents the kidney stone formation. That is the hypothesis. And question is, when you form it in a form of question, that does the drinking water prevent to form kidney stone? That is the research question. Hypothesis और question में इतना ही फर्क है. You form it in a question form or you form it in a statement form. And hypothesis is required only when you are proving something.
I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar to facilitate Dr. A.K. Srivastava sir with memento and certificate. Now I invite Dr. Anupma Srivastava, Professor in Community Medicine Department, T.S.Misra Medical College and Hospital. Ma'am, I invite you on stage to deliver your session on reference writing.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today I will briefly introduce you on the topic of reference writing. As you all know, whenever you write any scientific paper, dissertation or project, you may cite the finding of others ones in your study. I am asking you one question: is it sin to cite the finding of others in our study? क्या ये पाप है हम किसी की स्टडी को अपनी स्टडी में इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं? Is it sin? No, it is not sin. But you have to remember this thing, if you are using others' contribution or study in your own study, you must acknowledge them both in the text as well as in reference. So this is called the referencing कि भाई this is the reference I have taken from the WHO. ये reference आपने कहाँ से लिया? I have taken this reference from the Harrison Principle of Internal Medicine.
I will try to cover it in half an hour, maybe this, but last part, paper is already ready. This must be very familiar video, and many of you may not agree why I am showing this slide, but I thought I will use it as a launch pad. Most of you must have gone through this video, 15 minutes, beautiful video covering most of the aspects. But I'll try to take you beyond this. Have a look at some of these cases, very famous cases. Just see Dr. Eric Coleman, the senior researcher on menopause, aging, metabolism. He had to retract, his papers were retracted. And not only retracted, he was fined $250,000 and he was imprisoned for this. See another case. Luke von Paris working on RNA silencing at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Subjected to allegation of serious research misconduct, which eventually resulted in the loss of his job in 2005. See another worker, the very high-profile case of Professor Wong, South Korea. Several of his papers were retracted from major scientific journals for research and publication misconduct. He lost his job, and his relationship with Korean Airlines, which used to provide free first-class ticket in all kinds of flights, he faced a lawsuit. The story does not end here. Just see this. Kyoto University investigated a case where Koi Yamamizu was found to do some data manipulation, fabrication and falsification. For that he was implicated. But you see the beauty, he was a member of the team. The leader of the team had got a Nobel Prize on stem cells. To the extent of the data manipulation and violation of public ethics, that is what I wanted to emphasize at this point. And that is why this is important. In publication, every single case of fraud and misconduct reduces public confidence, abuses the use of public and charitable funds, and causes insult and frustration to the vast majority of workers, honest workers like us. So that is the importance of publication metrics. Sorry. Nikhil? This. Sorry, there is some problem. उसको यार वापस ले आओ, आगे जाना. Sorry, this is very sorry for the interruption. So, we must continue the research and do it ethically. All the academic research have a cycle. We have already gone through this. Appropriate study design, study execution, data collection, data analysis, and then publication. It is a very exhilarating experience. All those who have published paper, they know how much time and energy it takes to write a paper, then sending it to the reviewer, sending it to journal for publication, then return from editor, return from reviewer, then you write it again and do some hanky-panky and data correction, etc. Every time you learn something, you do something, improve the paper and submit it until the time and it is published. And once it is accepted, you heave a sigh of relief. Yes, my paper has been accepted. So it's such an experience. But publication is this, when you heave that sigh of relief. So what is publication ethics? These are simple rules. Publication ethics are rules of conduct generally agreed upon when publishing results of scientific research or other extraordinary paper. Code of conduct, good rules which should be followed. Generally it is a standard that protects intellectual property and forbids the republication of authors' work without public review. That means these are code of conduct, and anyone who has done a good work, an honest researcher, honest work, whatever he has published, whenever quoted, cited, he should be given his credit. That is all the ethics is. But one doesn't realize the value of dharma till you know adharma. You will not realize the value of ethics till you realize what is violation of ethics. And the violation of ethics include duplicate submission, multiple submission, plagiarism, gift authorship, ghost authorship, guest authorship, pressured authorship, salami publication, everything. But it does include the honest error. No one is perfect. Every researcher, every honest, sincere, hard worker, researcher may commit a mistake, and any honest mistake is accepted. That does not constitute the violation of publication ethics. The research and publication misconduct has been categorized into three categories. As I mentioned, the first one, the error of judgment. Errors committed by the researcher, honest researcher, minor thing, bias, inappropriate study design, maybe is ignorance, maybe it is not known. Well, that is acceptable. Little trimming of data, booking, minor decimaling, it's okay. But fraud, that is serious. Falsification, fabrication, plagiarism, these are serious issues, serious misconducts. The problem is global, is so much that it's very difficult to really estimate, especially in India. I just found one of the references. You see, some articles were sent to these journals, Journal of Pharmacology and Pharmacotherapeutics, Journal of Pharmacists and journals, and in those 1.97% were cases of multiple submission, 2% duplicate, plagiarism was highest, about 17%. This is India, and this is ORI. ORI is Office of Research Integrity. This is USA Public Health Department. So the problem is there also. They have mentioned that over the years, 2006 and 2015, they encountered cases around 15 cases almost every year. These are some of the cases and some of the articles which they have found out. See this, and when they analyze further, you can see the maximum number of cases are falsification, fabrication. The problem is that research fraud we are talking about. This is another study from COPE, Committee of Publication Ethics. They analyzed all kinds of misconduct that were done, and this COPE came into being in 1997, and this is Committee of Publication Ethics or like publication ethics. So they keep educating editors and publishers. So what they are trying to show here is that because of their efforts, see, all kinds of fraud are coming down, except the authorship issue. The authorship issue continues eventually. Authorship issue we are talking about, gift authorship, guest authorship, host authorship, we'll talk about it. So these are the components of publication ethics. These include ethical approval, data manipulation and research fraud, authorship issues, plagiarism, ethics related to submission, conflict of interest. We'll go on one by one. But before that, I want to share with you this story. The names are changed. The story is real. And many of you may be able to correct. Many of you PG students will be able to correct. So these are two firebrand PG specialists in their second year. They have already presented the paper. They are yet to publish a paper. They are working on that. Unless they publish a paper, they will not get the hall ticket for their MD examination. Dr. Dia is a PG in medicine, a very vibrant, happy-go-lucky, very good worker. And Dr. Sia, PG in my department, community medicine, very sincere, honest worker. Dr. Dia's guide, Professor M, is a very high-profile professional. Half of the year he is visiting abroad, all other countries, delivering lecture here and there, and hardly ever has time to look after the work of his student. But he had a student, so he told some farmer, here, look after it. And once it was designated, the pharma company contacted Dr. Dia. Dr. Dia, you don't have to worry, we will write your paper, you just tell us the topic. And rest assured, she told her the topic and she got a paper and she sent it for publication. Well, Dr. Sia, she had a guide, Dr. C, like me, very meticulous, sincere, you can say cruise, who would not let her move, checking her at every step. She was sincere, very honest, didn't know what to do. And at some point of time she has learned, look, if the results are not significant, it will not be published. How to put it across? She did some banky and made the result very significant. And significant, you can send it for publication. Well, it's okay. In the meantime, Dr. Sia learned that Dr. P, Professor of Pathology, is a very good friend. And Dr. P has a connection with some editors. So if Dr. P becomes my co-author, my paper will be published very easily. Sir, can we have Dr. P as our co-author? Yes, his son is a good friend, very high quality. Okay. So Dr. Sia goes to Dr. P. Sir, kindly be my co-author. The Dr. P is a man of conscience and principle. Yes, Dr. Sia, that's all right. But have I contributed in your study? I was never involved in neither the conception nor in the study design nor the analysis. I don't know what you have written and I can't take the responsibility for your work. I'm sorry. He refused. But guidance said okay, so she also submitted the paper for publication. So now both the PGs have submitted their paper for publication. The story ends here and we proceed with this. Ethical approval. Both Dr. Sia and Dr. Dia had submitted their proposal to Ethics Committee for approval. Well, as I mentioned, Dr. M, very high profile professional member of Ethics Committee, no one could stop the proposal. And Dr. Sia's proposal, her guide was the Secretary of the Institute Ethics Committee. Obviously, the proposal got through this, which is not correct. There is a provision. All the Institutional Ethics Committee, Institutional Review Board had to be registered with Department of Health Research in India. There are clear laid out guidelines for that, and those guidelines have to be followed for giving the ethical approval. Study protocols must adhere to national international guidelines. Informed consent, assent is a must. All clinical trials must be registered. In Dr. Dia's case, the paper was written by the pharmaceutical company. No informed consent. Right? It's a problem. We don't know. Any change in study protocol during the course of study be agreed upon by all investigators. So once the protocol has been approved, if there is any change, all the workers must be a part of it. They all should agree on it, and it should be informed to review committee, and this review committee must again give the approval for that. The original research record be retained for 15 years. Data manipulation, research and fraud. What happened in these two cases? Dr. Dia, the medicine PG, her paper was written by pharma company. She didn't know where the data came from. What is the data? It was just produced from somewhere. That is called data fabrication. What Dr. Sia did, because she was scared of his guide and she could not say this or this significant result, she manipulated the data. That is called falsification. So research fraud refers to publication that report results and draw conclusions from data that are manipulated. These offenses are applicable to images that are modified to conceal the truth. The last case that I told you from T.S.Misra, he had mocked all the images, all the figures except one. That was the charge against him. As I mentioned, fabrication, falsification, fabrication, Dr. Dia, falsification, Dr. Sia, fabrication, falsification, extremely serious form of research conduct. Editors and reviewers, if suspicious, may ask for raw data, and once asked, data has to be provided to them. Next is authorship guideline. International Committee of Medical Journal of Editors. All persons designated as authors should qualify authorship, and all those who qualify should be listed. So there has to be a criteria. So these are the 4 basic criteria for being author. Number 1, substantial contribution in the conception of design, in the acquisition, analysis, interpretation, drafting of the work, revising it critically, final approval, and agreement for being accountable. This is where Dr. P had politely refused being an author. So unless all these 4 criteria are met, no one qualifies to be an author. The authors generally people think, I have supplied patient, I have supplied data, I have supplied reagent, I have arranged these things, I have coordination partnership with data, care of examination of patients, I have arranged for funds, etc. Head of department institution. They think, because of this, I should be the author. But that's not correct. Unless all those 4 criteria are met, they cannot be an author. However, their contribution can always be acknowledged. Then, order of author. All those who have published papers avoid. There is always a dispute about who is the first author and who is the corresponding author. Who should be the first author? Many times I have heard it also. HODs claim that I should be the first author. No, the first author should be the person who has worked on it maximum, who takes the responsibility. In a situation like this, it is best that all authors meet, discuss and decide on it. Have a meeting, sort out the authorship issue at the time of commencement of the study, not at the end of the study. So, who should be corresponding author? Corresponding author is someone who takes the responsibility of compiling the entire thing and submitting the paper to the journal for publication. That means when submission, peer review, publication process or whatever is inquired about, he answers. He is the corresponding author. There are 3 related misconduct: host author, gift authorship and guest authorship. In case of Dr. Dia, the entire paper was written by a pharma company and it never came in the picture in the paper. So somebody who has worked on the paper but not acknowledged becomes a ghost author. Right? Dr. Sia approached Dr. P for being a co-author. What she was trying to do? She wanted Dr. P to become the guest author. And HOD, generally, by virtue of being in their position, in spite of not participating in or contributing in the paper, become the gift author. So this is how. So ghost author is somebody who has worked everything but has not acknowledged. Gift authorship is generally HODs and guest authorship is individual to increase the chance of acceptance of the paper. Plagiarism. This is the most common thing and we call, and it is because of the changing atmosphere. Maybe our previous speaker was saying during his time he had to go to Delhi to collect data and references for review of literature. But today, everything is available on the click of a mouse. The entire thing is available. And who's going to read and type? Just copy, paste, cut, copy, paste. So it is because of this plagiarism is on the increase. Easy accessibility and sometimes to cover up the language difficulty. My English is not good. But if the paragraph is good, I would better copy it rather than make my own English. So this is because of plagiarism. Very common. Plagiarism is there. 3 times. Direct. You copy paste the entire text. Then self-plagiarism. There are people, especially senior law, who have to write similar articles all the time. इनके लिए भी लिखो उनको लिखो सर आपका वो पेपर बहुत अच्छा था वैसे ही पेपर और लिखो. They generally take the entire thing from one paper to the other paper, one chapter to the other chapter. This is called self-plagiarism. Then redundant publication or simplification, publishing similar manuscripts and reports to enhance the number of publications. The idea is young researchers, number of publications should increase and every time you can't put so much of energy to carry out research and publish paper. So उसे उठा करके नाम बदला, टाइटल बदला, ऑर्डर बदला, भेज दे. This is duplication. What is the problem? Once many papers of similar type are published, the readers get an idea that there has to be something. So they get biased. So these should be avoided. To avoid plagiarism, the authors must give credit to the previous authors. That's already been talked about. The credit should be given. Avoid writing several articles of the same type we just mentioned and use softwares. Authenticate, Turnitin, etc. These are the softwares. These are approved by University Grant Commission in India. So these softwares can be used. But it is a legal offense. In India, University Grant Commission, UGC, they have made it mandatory for all academic institutions to have a plagiarism disciplinary authority that imposes penalty. And these penalties are very severe. Up to 10% of plagiarism, there is no penalty. 10 to 40% for students. It is submit revised manuscript within 6 months. It is for PG students. For faculty, withdrawal of manuscript and denial of permission to publish their work for minimum 1 year. If the plagiarism is 40 to 60%, the student is suspended from the course for 1 year. And faculty, withdrawal of manuscript and denial of permission to publish their work for 3 years. Denial of increment, 1 increment, and denial of permission to supervise the PG for 2 years. But if it is more than 60%, the student is removed from the course. And faculty, denial of 2 increments to salary, denial of permission to supervise students for 3 years, and if the offence is repeated by the faculty member, he or she can be fired. Now, ethics related to submission. There are 4 kinds: simultaneous, duplicate, self-citation, predicate journal. As name says simultaneous. You submit same article to many journals. किसी में तो एक्सेप्ट हुआ, जिसमें जल्दी हो जाएगा उसमें कर लेंगे, बाकी में से विड्रॉ कर लेंगे. This is incorrect. One should wait till the time a decision has been given by that journal. Either they accept it or they reject it. Once they reject it, you are free to submit it anywhere else. But submitting simultaneously is a problem. However, presenting a paper at a conference does not mean a crime. You have submitted paper for publication and you present the same at the conference is perfectly fine. That's perfectly ethical. In duplicate publication, submitting a new manuscript with same hypothesis, methods, data, discussion, conclusion as a previously published paper is called duplicate. It is different from plagiarism. Plagiarism, you just copy paste. In duplicate publication, you just change the name of the authors, you change the name of title and submit it. Duplicate publications, Committee of Publication Ethics, they have said major offences and minor offences. Major offences are duplicate publication based on same data set with identical findings, only authors change title, and duplicate publication with legitimate repetition or errors. That means you do subgroup analysis, you follow it up, do further analysis, and then you do hypothesis remaining the same. Performing a separate confirmatory study, excluding previously published data, and with a larger sample size, which I just mentioned, larger sample size, you do that, even if the hypothesis remains the same, it is okay, it is acceptable. When both editors believe it is in the best interest of the paper has been rejected by another journal or full report following submission of abstract. You submitted abstract or when you have cited the previous work, you have acknowledged this has already, part of this has already been published and it is the extension of that, it is acceptable. Then self-citation, again to improve their index. I don't know, I keep checking, many of you must be checking. Google Scholar, my citation index, what is my I5, what is my H10. Many of people keep citing. To increase that index, citation index, this is self-citation stuff again and again. But citing without the context, without proper context is unethical. Then predatory journals are a lot of those journals which are not peer-reviewed. There is no paise lenge, publish kar. These are predatory journals. The last is conflict of interest or compete interest. That is financial, personal, social, other interests that directly or indirectly influence the conduct of the author with respect to the particular. Having an interest is not bad, but not disclosing it is bad. What Dr. Dia did, she got the paper, written by the pharma company, they submitted without acknowledging. She gained it financially or whatever way you say. So this is conflict of interest. So these have to be declared while submitting paper. So I'll do this. Having competing interest is not unethical. Once disclosed, it is reader's discretion to decide whether it is okay, what is the effect on the result. Authors, co-authors are required to disclose conflict of interest, if any, at the time of uploading. Then direct conflict of interest, indirect, minor issues. If you get a lot of financial benefits, if you have the patent of the product, you get employment or own stocks because of this. This is direct. These are minor issues. Indirect is minor. You can say major, minor. What are the reasons of publication misconduct? Why does it take place? Why does it happen? And that is why I took the example of PG student second year. It is mainly because of this, under pressure to publish the paper. So under pressure and then the lack of awareness about the issues, about the ethical codes. So lack of awareness about research, publication ethics, pressure of publication, financial enticement, compromise activity, wish for massive improving CV, right? Academic advancement, competition against colleague, professional supremacy, etc. the consequences, it could mean end of career of researcher. The 4 examples that I gave you, the career was sealed for 4 of them. Academic achievement may be taken away. It means a huge loss of fund, time, reputation to the editor, destroying the public trust. This is what I was talking about. If the similar papers are published again and again with lot of discounts, unethical practices, the public tends to believe that this is correct, in spite of it not being so. Now, I'll just briefly mention about some regulatory authorities. One is ICMJ, International Committee of Medical Journal of Editors. This is a small working group of general medical journals, work on recommendation for conduct of reporting and publishing. They provide guidelines related to ethics. There are many important journals, they are part of it, like Annals of Internal Medicine, BMJ, WHO Bulletin, Nature, New England Journal of Medicine, the Lancet, the WAMI, World Association of Medical Editors. They are all associated with ICMJE. That means they follow the guidelines issued by ICMJE. You remember the authorship criteria that I told you, the 4 criteria? Those are given by ICMJE. Then the next one is scope. This is Committee on Publication Ethics. As I mentioned earlier also, it was constituted in April in 1997, and within 3 years there were 90 members, and it provides the guidelines for all publications. The members include publishers, editors, universities and research institutions, organizations, and individuals. So their principal objective is to educate and advance knowledge in methods of safeguarding the integrity of the scholarly record for the benefit of the public. The core principles are providing practical resources to educate and support our members, provide leadership in thinking on publication ethics, offering a neutral and professional bias in current database. So it is an international forum for editors, publishers, individuals, which provides code of conduct and best practice guidelines for defining publication ethics, advises editors on how to handle cases of research misconduct. In addition to this, I have mentioned another one, Office of Research Integrity in USA. In India, it is UGC, University Grant Commission. So there are many others also, but these 2 are most important, ICMJE and O, which provide the guidelines related to publication ethics. So what can be done? The most important is better education and publication guidelines for ethics. All the workers, all the researchers should be aware of these guidelines. This is the most important thing. Introduction of registers for planned and ongoing clinical trials. Here also, in India also, all clinical trials are required to be registered. That is very, very important. Change criteria from quantity to quality. This is very important. Now we have a mind set up. We should have so many publications, 30 publications, 40, 50. Even in promotion criteria, 2 papers, 3 papers. The recommendation is, instead of having the quantity, we should have the quality. We should talk about the quality of paper rather than the quantity of paper. That's important. So what is suggested is, before you send any paper for publication, one must go through the checklist, the ethical checklist for all publications. And these include, for ethical approval, do you have approval of IC and IRB? Have you registered your clinical trial? Have you documented informed consent? You just correlate with the studies that, the story that I mentioned. Data manipulation, research fraud. Is there any manipulation of material equipment, process data? Have you double checked data for accuracy? Is there any fake data? Then plagiarism. Have you used your own prior work or copied others' work? If yes, have you cited those correctly? Do you have written permission for reproduced material, figures or tables? Authorship issue. Have you included all the authors in a specific pre-agreed order? Do you have an agreement with co-authors? Are the co-authors aware of the contents of the publication? Have they had access to and hold themselves responsible for the data and its interpretation? Is there any ghost, guest or gift author? Then submission fraud. Is there simultaneous submission to two journals? Have you already published the entire work or part of it? Have you excessively cited your own publication? And conflict and interest. Have you declared relevant interests and relationships that would be seen as influencing findings? So I suggest before you submit any paper for publication, kindly use this checklist and make sure that you are not doing any research and publication misconduct. So avoid this research and publication of its findings are essential for the growth of science. But ethical standards for publication exist to ensure for high quality scientific publications, public trust in scientific findings, and that people receive credit for their work and ideas. So I finish here.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful talk. Now I invite on stage Dr. Pankaj Kumar Pathak and Dr. Swati Singh to conduct open house.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we have reached the end of today's academic feast. Before winding up the CME, let us have open house. I would like to ask the participant to give their valuable comments. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have reached the end of today's academic feast. Before winding up the CME, let us have the open house. I would like to ask the participant to give their valuable comments regarding the CME.
First of all, I must thank Department of Community Medicine and all the faculty and their staff, principal staff, for providing us wonderful learning opportunity. Especially Colonel Rajesh, for your dedication and hard work, we are getting grand success. And today morning, we had seen the excellent, brilliant presentation by the learned and experts on the research paper. Overall, we have learned extensively, and this was a very educative the topic, and not only me, all faculty members and all the PG students, they are benefited with this type of learning. And at the end, once again I congratulate Department of Community Medicine that the CME was wonderful, and hope in future we will repeat. We will do this. We will again the same. Thank you.
आप लोग कुछ कमी रह गई हो इसमें? What you expect in these things in this CME?
Nikhil?
Good afternoon, sir, Dean sir, and organizing secretary, Kumar sir. I would like to thank all of you for organizing such a innovative and informative session. And this is very, very much important for the beginners who are going to conduct research. And this session would be repeated again and again to learn the things. All these that were delivered, one cannot grasp in single session. Thank you.
Right, Joint Secretary of the CME, to say a few words in order to thank everyone who has made this CME possible.
Thank you, Dr. Sivani. A very good afternoon to everybody. It is my proud privilege to propose vote of thanks for the CME. I would like to thank our Dean Sir, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, who honored us with his inspirational thought, and without his blessings and support, this event was not possible. I would also like to thank our renowned speakers, guest speakers, Dr. R.K. Srivastava, Dr. Monica Purwar, and Dr. Ajit Kumar Srivastava for their contribution to this CME on sensitive paper writing. I would extend my support to Honorable Chairman Sir and all the members of management in absentia. I would like to thank all HOD sirs, renowned faculties and other delegates for making this function as a grand success. Finally, I acknowledge the contribution of all support staff and I thank them for their kind support. Once again, I thank you all and thank you.
Himalaya, Yamuna,